You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. What are we talking about here?
We might need to wrap things up, guys.
Oh no.
We've learned our worth.
No,
We've learned,
he's crushed.
We've learned what we are worth. Ain't nothing. Voting ended for the Clutch MOV Best of the local whatever. I don't even care anymore. It's a vote for something. It was stupid and we didn't win.
Yep.
All of stupid. Jordan's eggs were in this basket, apparently.
This was going to be our rocket ship to the top.
Oh, man. Boom.
We were going to overtake the airwaves of the Mid-Ohio Valley. But I think a worthy podcast won at mile marker 181. From everything I've heard, a very classy act about an unsolved murder that's touched a lot of lives.
Yeah, here locally. And I listened to a little bit of first couple episodes. And yeah, I mean, it was really good. I don't think that's what bothered us. Not that we weren't number one. I think it was that honorable mention in there we didn't get.
Yeah, I think we have. Okay, the ogres, the dueling ogres didn't win either.
Nope.
So if that had happened, it might have ruffled my feathers.
Yeah.
But as long as we're on equal footing with the dueling ogres.
They're sitting somewhere going, God, I'm glad we didn't act like we gave a crap about this.
But I think that a new podcast has surpassed the ogres as our rivals now.
That's very possible.
So we're gonna have to
pressure's off, ogres.
we're gonna have to start talking about beer.
Oh,
Seth, what are you drinking tonight?
Let me go look. You guys keep talking because now I'm all excited. You brought it up.
No, we really don't have any animosity. Anyone who does this for fun or profit or any other reason you do a podcast, good for you. Take to the airwaves. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. I think we just got a little riled up because none of the winners were kind of in our little circle of podcasts here locally that we know, people we're friends with.
Right. There's no one we could get behind and
right. Yeah. Yeah. We didn't have a dog in that fight.
What is that? That looks imported. Or is that
what with the Corona?
What do you? Oh, that's foreign.
Yeah, let's go. I gotta get it now before the wall goes up.
Looks like it's got a good flavor to it.
Yeah. Vote for us.
Hops.
It's
right.
Ka-Pow beer talk.
Yeah. First 15 minutes, every podcaster now devoted to
all beer, Big Brother.
And we've officially talked more than that. The podcast placed above us.
Yeah. The people that got mentioned, their one episode they
have one episode and they beat us. So we know where we're at. All the Jessies didn't come out to the polls, but that's the problem. Every political party worries about their constituents getting out there, and Jessies are too cool to go vote for stuff. They don't care about this stuff. They've got other things to worry about, like what?
Like you have to say it like
segue.
that.
I was trying to segue into what was our next
What do you
topic.
have to worry about? Get over it. Okay. I'm not allowed to call it that. What do we call it?
Yeah, there's
breaking news.
There's a show coming up. That's what Jessies are worried about.
Uh-huh.
The River City Comic Con of years past has evolved. This summer, July 28th in Marietta, Ohio, the River City Comic Arts Festival.
Ooh, the fancy
Festivus for the rest of us.
So there are a lot of Comic Cons in the region, and I am a promoter of one. And I just thought, how, the same vendors, the same people go to kind of the same shows. How do we stand apart? So I wanted to do something differently. There are some other reasons about, logistics and what this town has to offer as far as rooms of a certain size or a certain, air conditioning usage, if the air conditioning works or doesn't.
Definitely.
This town has a huge problem with that for some reason. So this show has morphed. We're not doing a Comic-Con. It's not vendors selling stuff. It is all artists and creators. So yeah, there are a lot of people in the Mid-Ohio Valley who create their own stuff. Writers who write comics, artists who do prints, and crafters who make, purses and perler beads and costumes and cosplaying, all kind of fun stuff. So that's what this is about. Everyone who's setting up at the show will be a creator.
Like us.
Right. You want to sign up for a table, you guys? Let's podcast it out.
You want to do another episode of your beer thing?
Yeah.
Get ready. Start preparing for that second episode.
So, yeah. We're only charging $1 to get in. Kids 10 and under are free. And you can come see what the Mid-Ohio Valley, see what award-worthy stuff is out there, not getting recognized.
Yeah.
A free chip for your shoulder with every entry. That sounds cool. That's
I like it.
Different take. So,
as long as Jordan didn't get sick this year.
Right. Where's it at?
The Lafayette Hotel, downtown Marietta. Cool. And the website's still the same, rivercitycomiccon.com. I don't think San Diego can sue me for a website. So,
I think that website's in Michael's name anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
There's no website then.
No, it's actually under WordPress. Okay. I paired it with lowwords.wordpress.com. So
I won't do it. Okay, so
I feel like we're getting off to an award-worthy start to this episode.
Good as it gets.
They said they're going to do this voting in 2 years. They're doing it. They're printing like a Best of the Mid-Ohio Valley booklet. It said, and they're going to give out to people. I said that'll be good for 2 years, and they're going to redo the voting.
So we got to stare at that crap for 2 years.
We got 2 years to whip ourselves into shape, and it starts now. Maybe next episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, comics are coming to town, and we got comics to talk about right now.
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Well, some people use their imagination.
Well, I must hurry back to my comic book store, where I dispense the insults rather than absorb them.
Happens all the time. Read a comic book, okay?
Oh, I happen to know somebody got a comic book for Valentine's Day.
I bet that's me. Yeah, I heard my wife swore you to secrecy.
But I do got to tell you now, she called me to see. She's like, "Is there anything down there Cliff would want?" And
yeah.
I said, that's
fine. Is there anything? Do you have anything I would like? I wear an extra medium.
And I said, I'm holding the book right now. He hasn't picked up yet. She's like, "Great, I'll be down this afternoon." And she came down, and she looked at the one book, and she goes, "Is that it?" And she was mad. So you officially have permission. Your wife wants you to buy more comics.
Okay. I can buy more
in
comics.
person. She said, "That's it." She wished you had ordered more comics. So
I like it.
What have you been reading? Heroes in Crisis? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't read that issue yet.
Still digging it. Very booster and
it's very boost. That's what keeps me coming back. Yeah, I do. Anytime I can get a little blue and gold action, and that part of it's really reminiscent of the good old times with those two, and Ted's back and alive, and just the bromance they have going on. There's been a couple issues and panels that they really have pegged me on this. Just those two backing each other up. Booster's being suspected of all these murders, and then it's got an interesting twist with or a pair up of it's Booster and Harley are the ones they're everyone's after in connection with these murders, and they've paired Harley up with Batgirl,
which when it first happened, I thought that doesn't really fit, but
right. But it's a neat little thing they have going on because she's insane, and and Batgirl is kind of right there, off to her shoulder all the time, kind of trying to reel her back in. And, when she talks about murder and stuff, and she's, "No, we're not going to do that, Harley. No, we're not going to do that." And she just Harley keeps repeating, the killy stuff over and over and over again. It's a cute little pairing, a dynamic we don't normally see. We've seen Harley, there's some great stuff out there, between Harley and Poison Ivy and the relationship they have, a different relationship. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I'm a DC guy. I like really obscure characters when they're plucking characters like Blue Jay and And even, Citizen Steel, we don't see a lot of anymore. And he popped up in the last episode. I enjoy that stuff. I think some of the criticism, or I can see why some people aren't really into it. It's a lot of talking. The art is good, but the panels themselves just don't have a lot going on. It's a lot of facial expression and just kind of talking heads, more or less.
Yeah, it's definitely more character and emotion than big action pieces, at least so far.
But yeah, I'm digging that. I stopped by there a couple weeks ago and picked up Injustice. The video game has always been a big hit at our house, but the comic series is now, how many years has that been going on?
Quite a while.
Quite a while.
Yeah.
It was very alternate universe storyline.
5 seasons, I think, so far.
Right. So I picked up, because it caught my eye, the Injustice Masters of the Universe crossover. Had the same artist, 100% positive, that did the Masters of the Universe and Thundercats crossover a couple years ago or so that I really enjoyed. But it was a miniseries. They did, 6 issues, I do believe. Picked up all those at Asylum a couple weeks ago. Really enjoyed those. Story was good. Story's solid. I didn't have to read all of the Injustice series to kind of know what's going on. It kind of fills you in as you go along. And there's one little panel in one of the issues where I think I sent you a picture. There was a He-Man toy. It was a figure carrier back in the 80s, and it was like a dragon skeleton, and it was the dumbest toy ever. It was just a skeleton that you put. It was a figure carrier, so your figure snapped in there and like the rib cage, and that's how he carried your figures. But they wrote it into this comic book, and I was loving it. It was great.
Yeah, so we've had a little bit of news. Some things have been revealed about upcoming books. The biggest thing coming this summer is Marvel's War of the Realms. This is Thor-centered, which Jason Aaron took over writing Thor God of Thunder in December of 2012. And after 6 or 8 issues, he started planting seeds for this War of the Realms. So it's literally since 2013 this story's been building. Because Thor has had one writer this whole time, which is so rare today to have a long-form storytelling like that. So it's basically Malekith, if you've seen Thor
The Dark World
2, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The very forgettable villain from Thor 2.
Christopher Eccleston.
Right. So he has basically, with a few allies, has toppled all the 9 realms. There's actually 10 in the comics, but we won't get into it.
Hold on. Why do you remember that?
What?
You didn't even like Marvel. Why do you remember that about Thor?
I like Christopher Eccleston. He was in Doctor Who.
I have no memory of that. So
he's like,
you're just like Malekith.
I didn't say I liked the movie.
Yeah, it was like you knew his name, you knew everything.
He was the dark elf with half a face, half light, half dark face.
Sure.
So yeah, all the other realms have fallen except for Midgard.
It's not that I don't like Marvel. I like Marvel. I like the movies better than the comics.
I wonder why all of a sudden.
But when it comes down to it, I prefer DC. That's what I grew up with. I'll take my, fantastical gods and monsters over your gritty Punisher street level stuff.
Well, that's what this is going to be. Gods and monsters invading Earth all summer long, where there's a bunch of tie-in mini-series, and a bunch of the books are going to cross over with it. So everything Marvel's going to be War of the Realms. And just announced recently, the Savage Avengers. Did we catch that headline?
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian. Marvel just got the rights back to publish Conan.
Conan is now an Avenger?
And they are, Marvel is usually, you know how tepid they are with flooding the market with books. The Conan the Barbarian ongoing, Savage Sword of Conan ongoing, Age of Conan is a series of rotating miniseries. They have thrown him into, there's only a weekly series, Avengers No Road Home. The Avengers are going to cross dimensions and time
now,
and,
is this
and
the
meet
one you
Conan.
were talking about, you were telling me about that I bought the other day?
Yes, the first issue.
Because you were like, do you want this? I was like, no. You're like, it's got Vector in it. And I'm like, who? And then I was like, it's Voyager.
Voyager, yes.
But then I got the first issue, so I'm going to at least try it.
So stick around to issue 6, and then Conan will show up.
Yeah.
So apparently whatever happens in that book is going to lead to Conan in the Marvel Universe. And he's going to be on a team with Venom, Wolverine, Elektra, Brother Voodoo, and the Punisher, called the Savage Avengers.
Wow, I got to wrap my head around
That's just crazy enough. It just might work.
Sure. They didn't stop to think if they should.
Well, DC's big summer event, they call 2019 the Year of the Villain. So they're building their storylines around these big.
Sounds gritty.
The villains are making their moves, and they're putting out, much like they did last year, the week of Free Comic Book Day. They're putting out a 32-page, 25-cent issue, which they did last year. That kind of previewed the Batman wedding.
Yeah.
Bendis taking over Superman, the Justice League book. So it kind of gave you samples of what was coming up this year. They're going to do that again. It worked so well. We're going to get a Justice League story about Lex Luthor assembling the Legion of Doom.
Ooh.
He wants to rid the universe of heroes, and he just might do it. Batman Who Laughs. We've had a miniseries with that. Has been super successful. We're going to get more from him and his master plan going forward. Plus this whole City of Bane thing that Tom King's run has been leading toward for a long time. And then a Superman story, Leviathan Rising, which Bendis has kind of been tweaking the world of crime and espionage in Metropolis, so we're going to get more from that. So we got a 25-cent book, first week of May, written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion, Brian Bendis, and art by Alex Maleev, Jim Chung, and Francis Manapul, with a sweet Greg Capullo cover. So that's what DC's doing right. Let's swing over to what DC's doing wrong. They canceled, have we heard the book Second Coming?
Nope.
Do you follow Fox News on Twitter or?
Nope.
So Vertigo was going through a renaissance, right?
Okay.
Vertigo's coming back, and they advertised a book by Mark Russell and Richard Pace called Second Coming, and it is a satire in which Jesus is roommates with a superhero, Sunman. So it's Conan the Barbarian. So it's an obvious Superman analog. So it's basically God is disappointed in what Jesus was able to accomplish on Earth, and sees how popular superheroes are, and sends his son back to Earth and says, learn something from this guy. People love him, and he's doing a lot of good in the world. Obvious satire. No one has seen a panel of the book, so no one knows, is it even raunchy? Is it PG rated? Is it blasphemous? Is it just humorous?
Yeah.
It might, heaven forbid, it might even be positive about the faith.
Right.
But it got picked up a few Christian news sites, and then Fox News picked it up, and there were a petition, got 250,000 signatures
to not do it,
saying, how dare you? Because the headlines, of course, weren't mature label Vertigo doing an irreverent book. It was DC Comics adding Jesus to its superheroes, and the thought of how dare they?
Yeah.
Which, good idea or not, they obviously we were.
It was an idea that they do what they always do, and they destroyed any idea.
As we talked about episodes before, the new person in charge came from Disney, and we know Disney, anything controversial, they do not put up with
their hands of it.
So book was canceled before it ever went to print, and I just had the final order cut off this week, and I ordered a few because I originally hadn't ordered any. Because Vertigo's not selling very well. It needs a kick in the butt.
Yeah.
And I
needs
heard
a little Jesus in there.
Yeah.
So I heard all this controversy, and I thought, wow, someone might be interested in that. So I ordered a few. Well, nope, canceled. Not coming out. But the creators asked DC if they could have the rights back, and DC's sure. So they can take it to some other publisher, which is normally a mess.
Yeah.
And they're not normally as easy to just, hey, I can have the rights back. So I think with all the press this has been getting, it'll be on shelves before long from a different publisher who, the media won't be able to, IDW publishing a book about Jesus. Like, doesn't have the same ring as DC. Does anyone want to read Jughead's Time Police?
I feel like I should be.
Time traveling Jughead?
What?
we've seen all the Archie, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, The Hunger, where Jughead's a werewolf, The Blossom 666, where they're like satanic. So apparently in the 90s, there was a 5-issue miniseries called Jughead's Time Police, and it was like a cult classic favorite of Jughead jumping through time. So they're bringing.
When was this?
1990. So they're bringing it back as a 5-issue series this June by Sina Grace and Derek Charm. And the solicitation said Jughead messes up his entry in the Riverdale Bake Off so badly he has to go back in time for a second chance. And of course, it messes up the timeline, and hijinks ensue.
Wow, I like hijinks.
So I like time traveling Jughead.
Oh man, time traveling anything. I want time traveling Satanist Cheryl. That'd be fun.
Oh, we got to cross over.
Oh, I was gonna tell you, I wanted to get order that next issue of Batman Damned.
Good luck.
I saw that. I was just kidding. DC. Oh, controversy.
Was it
cancel it?
Yeah. Was it number 2 or number 3 that they canceled?
Number 2 is out. Number 3 is the last issue.
Yeah.
Which it's running late anyway because the art's so intricate. But yeah, this whole Black Label thing we talked about before, Batman, this was going to be the new thing. This was going to be artists taking chances.
It had a thing.
Yeah.
What'd you call it? Don't say it.
All right, just a few other books that have come out very recently. I mentioned Heroes in Crisis. It's about half over. Avengers No Road Home is a 10-issue weekly series bringing back the character Voyager, who they introduced a couple years ago as...
Vector.
No. But it's like, oh, she's always been a founding Avenger.
It's like Sentry.
Yeah, like Sentry. They sort of
Same costume
mess with
almost,
people's
too.
minds.
I liked that when they had her before, so...
And same creative team, just a mix of writers and artists. Hit Girl Season 2 just started, written by Kevin Smith. So the plot is a little bit familiar. They're apparently, in the book, Hollywood is making an unauthorized film adaptation about Hit Girl's life. So Hit Girl goes to Hollywood to stop it, which I haven't seen Jay and Silent Bob in a while, but it was not the plot.
It sounds
Jay and Silent
familiar.
Bob Strike Back. They were doing the Blunt Man and Chronic movie.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Smith...
He's run out of ideas.
Yeah, he got so high he forgot that was the idea of his movie.
That's out now?
Issue 1 is out. Yeah. And each issue is titled something like Hollywood related.
Right.
So the issue 1 was called The Silent Era. And issue 2 is The Talkie. So obviously Kevin Smith is famous for his dialogue. Issue 1, there's almost no dialogue. The whole thing is just an action scene. So it's him sticking his middle finger a little bit at the people who, Kevin Smith's dialogue. So he very plot heavy first issue.
In it?
No. Fight Club 3 started from Dark Horse. So the original novel turned into a movie by Chuck Palahniuk. They did a sequel a couple years ago, just in comics. So they're doing a sequel to that sequel. Artist Cameron Stewart. They're doing a 12-issue series that... And the last one, Marla had a baby, and there's a lot of drama, a lot of weird stuff you couldn't really get away with in a movie, I'm sure. So Project Mayhem is growing beyond Tyler Durden's ability to control, and it's just, things are going nuts. So if you like the Fight Club story and want more to it, it's not a novel, it's not a movie, it's just a comic book. Marvel relaunched Daredevil, which they sort of killed him off, in air quotes, a couple months back. He got hit by a truck.
Oh, I thought he got hit by air quotes. It sounded like.
If you remember Daredevil's origin, he saved a blind man from getting hit by a truck. In this recent one, it wasn't Bullseye, it wasn't Kingpin. He tries to save a kid and gets hit by a truck. And the doctors are like, "What? Your bones are horrible. You're scarred everywhere. Like your body, you never give your body time to heal." So it was that kind of thing of he may never walk again, and he has to gain the willpower and lose the fear because he's a man without fear. So now Daredevil is back. New first issue. If you want to jump into a brand new Daredevil series.
Who?
Huh?
Who's writing it?
Chip Zdarsky with art by Marco Cecchetto. Gugino. Hey, DC launched the Wonder Twins miniseries.
Yeah.
Which I tried to talk your wife into buying that one, too.
I wish you...
Oh, she was. Oh, is this it? Well, you can get this. Nah, I don't think so.
You could have just thrown that in there. She would have never known the
Yeah,
difference.
he really failed you.
Yeah.
And she says this is, well, actually, no. There's this omnibus. Right. He's been really wanting.
You got to work on those sales skills a little bit.
Weak.
And then you end up on the couch. But you have an extra
He's
couch.
got something to read.
That's right.
You don't have to tell us your story of your Cliff two-couch Barnes. 6-issue miniseries. Mark Russell, that same guy who wrote about Jesus. He's also writing about Zan and Jaina.
Well, that just makes sense.
And Gleek.
They are
The Space Monkey.
They are on Earth, interning at the Hall of Justice. It was a good issue. I liked it. It was funny, and it had all the heroes kind of, something really awkward happens at high school, and all the heroes like, oh, we've all been there. And so you hear stories like Superman and Batman talking about something awkward they did and as adolescents.
I saw some of the art, and they did a good job. It didn't look like they tried to update them too much.
Yeah.
I mean, they look like themselves, very recognizable from Super Friends itself.
that sounds cool.
Very much.
Yeah, I like that when they go with the old art like that.
Marvel launched Old Man Quill, which
I'm over the old
Wolverine.
people.
We had Wolverine, Old Man Logan.
When they're Hawkeye.
In the original one, his partner was Hawkeye, so we did a series, Old Man Hawkeye, how he got to that point. DC parodied it with Old Woman Harley, did a Harley Quinn series set in the future. So this one is Peter Quill, better known as Star-Lord. It's a 12-issue series, and it's basically he has screwed everything up in his life and lost all his friends and hurt his people as the king. He became the monarch of Spartax. And he gets one last chance, as all good old people do, to come back one last time to save the day. And he ends up on Earth concurrently with Old Man Logan in the Wasteland. And he had no idea what even took place, how the villains rose and destroyed the world in Old Man Logan. So he's been out in space all this time. So he lands on Earth during all this, and it's like, what has been going on?
Has Marvel adapted Star-Lord to the movies, the character itself?
He's very much,
Chris Pratt.
That sort of the way they've done Tony Stark as a motor mouth, smart aleck. They've definitely turned Peter Quill
Tony
that
Stark
direction
was
too.
never what he is. Once Iron Man came out, they totally changed.
Like even the animated stuff on the Disney channels, Tony Stark is very Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And last one I got, Young Justice, DC just brought back, which
Yeah.
has shocked me why it's taken so long for a property that people love that much. It's taken that long to get back. But Brian Michael Bendis is writing it, Patrick Gleason's art. We've got Robin, Wonder Girl, Impulse, Amethyst, and Superboy are joined by two new characters, Teen Lantern, who is a teen with a green lantern ring, and Jenny Hex, a descendant of Jonah Hex.
Okay.
And the villains
is she a cowgirl?
Oh, she is. She's got a pickup truck with a gun rack in the back. And she's on a trip to Metropolis when the villains of Gemworld, remember Gemworld?
Yeah.
They have invaded Metropolis.
What was that? Princess Amethyst?
Yes, and Amethyst joins Young Justice to help stop her people, and it's
all coming together.
Fun, all ages adventure.
I just want to mention one thing I read recently. After that Spider-Verse stuff came out, I was like, I want to go look up, some of this Miles Morales stuff, but I really never got around to it. I was picking up stuff leading up to it and all that death of Spider-Man and the Ultimate Spider-Man thing, and I really like that. That was like in the 150s to 160, I think, of Ultimate Spider-Man. Bendis and Bagley was back and everything. It was just a really good story. If you missed that somewhere, I'm probably the only one that missed it. But if you missed that along the way, that was a really good run there. Just those few issues where they killed off Spider-Man, and it was good.
I've barely read any of the Ultimate stuff because when it came out, I thought, well, it's not important. It's not real.
Oh, man.
Air quotes.
Yeah.
Air quotes are flying. But yeah, I feel like that's my fault. Like I missed some good stories because it wasn't in my continuity.
Yeah, I read, I'm sure the first I'm sure I read the first 100 issues or whatever of Ultimate Spider-Man in trades, and I loved it. And the Ultimates, I have all that. I read those. Were great. But yeah, it's your fault, especially when you had them right there in front of you for just to read. Put them back on the shelf. Okay, so that's a lot of comic books. We did it.
Yeah.
It's time to find something out about Cliff. You down with KPP?
Yeah, you know me.
What the hell is wrong with you people? You know me.
What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
You know me.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
You know me.
You don't know how it feels to be me. You don't know me by now.
Why are you the way that you are?
Okay, Cliff drew
got
the
to
thing out of the hat of questions. So what's it say?
It says, the question is, what tattoo would you get?
If you had to get a tattoo,
So it's
Does anyone here have a tattoo?
I was going to say, it's assuming.
yeah, I was gonna say
No visible tattoos.
No,
I don't. But I want to change that up. Obviously, we should be like guessing what the other people would get.
Well, I assume if Cliff took his shirt off, he's have Booster Gold and
No.
Blue Beetle across
There's
his
the
entire
most
back.
obvious.
Just a big
thing.
fist bump.
I can tell you the top 2 tattoos he would get. Number 2 would be a Cleveland Browns helmet. Number 1,
Maybe. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, number 1 would be some Mickey ears.
I don't know if I'd go with Mickey ears.
Well, it'd be Disney something.
Well,
Come
okay,
on.
Yeah, something.
What, a full Walt? You want?
Maybe like the castle with some fireworks in the
Oh
background.
my God! I want to see that full
Yeah.
back. Princess Castle.
Now, there's a lot of merchandise at Disney. Are there any tattoo parlors down there?
Sadly, no. We have a barber shop on Main Street. You can get your hair cut, but you can't get a tattoo.
That's ridiculous.
Why?
Tattoo or bust?
Yeah, exactly. You should. Oh man, that's
When you have
stuff.
when you have a child and they get to a few months old, that point where it becomes
you want their first haircut to be
first
Disney?
haircut.
And their
Where-
first tattoo is what I'm saying.
Where do you want to go? You want to right down Main Street, USA.
Yeah, they should do that. I bet
They'll
they
even
could
put
make a
some
bunch
little
of money.
pixie dust in there if you ask real nice.
People would be there, get all caught up in it, and want to get a tattoo while they're there. I guarantee you would get a tattoo if they had a place.
I think maybe like that would be maybe not Main Street for the tattoo parlor. That'd be like
Back
a Disney.
alleys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be like a Disney Springs thing down there.
Oh yeah, we know.
You have to go down
I figure
there.
it's back there by the payphone, back near your favorite bathroom, back there.
That's an Epcot.
Get a tattoo. Oh, silly me! Oh, I don't have egg on my face.
Yeah, get it right.
So.
But yeah,
No, I'm picturing a monorail track all over your body.
I've seen some monorails.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Disney tattoos.
I just figured
One
you'd
time-
go with the classic
do you remember
mouse ear hat.
when we were down there back in together in 2009?
Mm-hmm.
You remember we went over to Fort Wilderness
Sure.
and to
I think it was yesterday.
we went over to see the Hoop-Dee-Doo.
The Hoop-Dee-Doo.
The Hoop-Dee-Doo musical review. You remember this?
No.
You remember the show?
What happens in the Hoop-Dee-Doo?
It's a big.
musical review?
Remember we sat on the balcony
Sure.
and they had all you can eat fried chicken, ribs,
no, I
beer.
don't remember this.
It's the one.
Go
where,
on. I
Okay.
want to relive it.
So yeah. So we're all there, the whole family,
Right, yeah.
and we're waiting outside Pioneer Hall, right next to Hoop-Dee-Doo, and to get seated.
This is the best.
Okay.
I
And
want
we
to
met-
time travel back to just after this.
Well, no. Before we go in, we met a fellow. He was out there, and he was a regular, and he had a tank top. So somebody quickly noticed that he was covered in Disney tattoos.
Wow.
Had them all over his body, to the point when guy was not in very good shape, and he was probably 50 plus.
All right.
And it was bald-headed guy.
Yeah.
And so he lifts up and he's showing all his tattoos off for all the Disney things, and trying to kind of explain them a little bit. But you don't remember that?
No.
Oh.
I still don't know what the Hoop-Dee-Doo was. I want to know what
it's a play. They put on like a dinner show.
Okay.
Okay, and it's all
outside?
No, inside.
Okay.
It's a big hall. It's Western themed. It's a lot of singing and dancing.
Oh, we were up in there. Okay.
We were up in the balcony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of
Carly
Disney.
sitting there and stuff. When
Yeah.
she looking down over at it and stuff.
Carly was on. Yeah, she was only
her.
2
Yeah,
at the time.
Her looking.
Yeah, that was the one. My favorite memory about that. I don't know. We're off topic, but
Well, if you had gotten a tattoo of this, you would remember
That's
it
true.
very clearly.
I want to Yeah, we need a whole scene. And the guy in the background.
There's like 11 or 12 of us there, and we're all we were on dining plan. Okay, so it's essentially paid for the meal. But at Disney World, even though when you're on dining plan, you still get a regular bill, with the actual amount of how much it would cost if you were paying out of pocket. So there's like 12 of us on this thing, and the waitress brings over the ticket, the bill, and Colton, who is 10 at the time, Colton gets full view of it, and immediately is like, it was like $700 and some dollars. And he's like, oh my gosh, this meal would cost over $700. How are we going to pay for this? And just going on this big spiel. That's what I remember mostly about that night.
Yeah, I remember now and picture it. There was a whole Hoop-Dee-Doo going on.
Hoop-Dee-Doo.
You took me back, Cliff.
Okay.
What else do we do? It was great. Anyway, so you would get something Disney probably, right?
Probably, yeah.
If you had to get one, I mean, it'd be a Browns or Disney, and I feel like you'd end up with a Disney. Something.
Yeah, I don't feel like if I had like Bernie Kosar's face on a shoulder, a lot of people.
Brian Sipe.
Ooh.
You know how many high fives you would get in this town?
Just get a 17 on there.
17.
That's my Brown street cred there. What about Jordan? What are we going to get for him?
That's my problem is I don't have anything really that I have been that passionate about long enough. Like at different points in my life, I may have gotten tattoos.
Shakespeare?
Well, obviously, Willie Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are times, I would have gotten a tattoo of something that I do not even pay attention to anymore.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, in the same vein, like your whole family, you're all big Reds fans.
that's the only thing I can think of that from like, kindergarten to today.
Right.
I'm still, I love comics and Spider-Man and all that stuff, but I wouldn't get a Spider-Man tattoo. But But yeah, the big wishbone C for the Cincinnati Reds. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, I'm not a sports guy. I love baseball, but I'm not
it's a hard balance because you want something. If you're only going to get one, it's very representative of you. And yeah, you like the Reds, but you're not anything else sports.
And I did always like the idea of married people would get a tattoo on their ring finger of the name that would like fit and like showing that lifelong commitment more than a ring
again,
could.
Colored in,
right?
Just make it a regular ring.
But that's not happening. So Reds it is.
You get
a single C.
You can get married to the Reds. Get the wishbone C around your finger. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I would have guessed something comic book for you. Well, what are you guys gonna guess? Come on.
Or like
you don't know how good I've been sweating. Glad that I don't have a Wahoo. Because it could happen, guys. Yeah. I was probably dangerously close.
That's my other fear is things not aging.
That's why I don't have a tattoo, because I feel at some point I would regret it because just.
Things
change. Everything changes. Not, it wouldn't be the end of the
world. Except for Disney. Disney's forever.
That's what I mean. I feel like you go with that because even if you swore off the Browns, if they did some terrible thing, you'd still always have Disney.
Move to Baltimore.
Yeah, like move away.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah.
So don't get tattoos, kids, unless it's the KPP logo.
That would be good. Right. I wonder if we could talk Michael into that. He needs a tattoo.
How does he not have a tattoo?
I don't know. That is very strange. I'll mention that.
I don't know. So, I don't know if we answered the question, but we
got a story out of it.
We talked about tattoos and hoop-de-doos or whatever. Or we forgot. What was next? Let's talk about some TV.
Oh, Lord.
What the hell is a sticky maple?
Run, Barry, run! That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
Go get him, Supergirl.
Well, what this guy look like, anyway?
Oh, he's a little guy, kind of funny looking.
Uh-huh. In what way?
Oh, just in a general kind of way.
Exterminate!
Little pig! Let me in!
These violent delights have violent ends.
That's what she said.
Groovy.
Well, we got to do Big Brother post-mortem.
Well, that's what people have been waiting on.
Oh, yeah. It's over. It happened. We got down to the final 5.
I'm guessing it wasn't as good as our own celebrity Big
What
Brother
was? What
season.
could be? What could be? It actually was a pretty good finale. Got down to the final 5. Ricky Williams, Lolo Jones, Candy Burris, Tamar, what's her last name? Braxton, and Dina Lohan.
No Tom Green?
No, he got
out the door.
He got knocked out as soon as they had a chance to get him out because he was winning all the contests.
His bum was out the door.
Yeah. But he was very happy to find out when he got outside that he was a fan favorite. And
I'm relevant again.
Yeah, he got on. He was kind of worried in the house. They trashed him pretty hard. Like I've told Jordan, they use this. They gaslight you and make you think you are a terrible, terrible person. And they talk about it. They're all. It is good for all of them to make you a villain. So it would really mess with your mind if you have nowhere to go except listen to people tell you how bad you are. And he gets out of the house and finds out that nobody believes he's this terrible person. And he ended up winning fan favorite of the season, which he was glad to rub in their faces. But it came down
along with his bum.
Yeah, exactly. He rubbed his bum in their face. And it came down. Ricky Williams got to choose who he took to the finals, and he made a terrible choice and took Tamar Braxton. And
I've never known Ricky Williams to make good choices in life.
Well,
but you didn't get to know him like America did.
That's true.
Yeah.
That he's not just the headlines, Cliff. He's a real
healer
person.
He did he played a pretty good game, but he's a
healer? Is that what you said?
I told you that he massaged Kato's colon.
Does he have like the crystals and all that stuff?
Oh, the finale, he was wearing the full-on like Steven Seagal, like Chinese, shirt with the long buttons,
Nehru jacket.
Right,
right.
Yeah. But they, anyway, he just wasn't likable to them, and because he was a little obnoxious, and he should have took Lolo Jones to the end because at least she was crazy. But I think there's a good chance.
Yeah, why do you take a likable person to the end? Because then they're going to vote for the likable person. Take the crazy person to the end.
Again, Ricky Williams, not a great decision.
The reason being, I think his mentality was she was not likable. She danced as Tom went out the door, and the fans really did not like her. But the fans weren't voting. And the fans kind of, these people left the house and got to watch everything, so they also knew she wasn't likable. And fans were saying, don't vote for her or Lola or whatever, and they were all, they wanted to vote for Dina. Dina would have won a landslide, even though she didn't even know which way was up. She was so terribly dumb. But she would have won just because of likability. The wrench in the plan was he took Tamar to the end, and she crushed it at the end. She did textbook finale 101. Hey, I made mistakes. I'm too emotional. A little sob story about how I need the money, and just basically build everybody up. I got you out. I danced when you left. I wanted to get you out because you were I couldn't have beat you. Blew up everyone's egos. She just gave one of the best finale speeches, and he was terrible. He gave terrible answers. You know, almost the worst answers you could give to the questions that were asked of him. So, sharp contrast. She easily beat him. He didn't even get a vote. So, that was pretty good. The real catch in this, if you watch the episode, did you see where Dina Lohan was getting catfished?
I saw part of that. She's been dating a guy who
for 5 years
haven't met or
never seen him.
or yeah.
Never seen him. He doesn't use FaceTime. It's just strict catfish going on, and they're like they're showing them talking about it, you know, as they're hanging out in the house. They're like, Dina, you're getting catfish. She's like, oh no, I'm going to marry him someday. They're like, he has FaceTime. He can. Oh, Tamar Braxton explaining it to her was hilarious. Anyway, she's like, I'll go with you when you meet him. Anyway, this guy came out on Twitter and he claims he's a real guy. Guess what his name is? Jesse.
Oh, no.
He's a Jesse, guys. I should have known it. Catfish is Jesse. Even the guy from Catfish, Nev or whatever, or Neve, he's like, it's real. He's real. I went and I checked him out.
Oh, wow. Expert.
So, yeah, well, there you go. Anyway, so that's it. I think it was, you know, as good as the first season. You know, kind of curious where they go from there. I'm only going to bring up the mooch to say I hated all that. So he was fine, likable, but it was a stunt, embarrassing stunt, and I wish they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I recorded the finale and just fast forwarded through to the interesting parts, and every 5 minutes, it's like, coming up, we're going to talk to the mooch.
Right.
And then even fast forwarding it was like a 10-minute interview with this guy in a 2-hour finale. And it's like, why does America care what this guy has to say?
No, nobody cared. People got on there to watch Big Brother, not him talk about politics. So,
but I can see the appeal. I think I said last time, like, I like that drama and the who do you trust? Is this person telling me the truth? You may not even know if you're telling them the truth. You're like, I will protect you till the end. You don't know if you are or not. But I again, fast forwarded all the games and all the physical challenges. That stuff was all very silly. But I understand that's what leads to the drama.
Right.
So,
and they spent there was two things. They spent some money on these games this time compared to sometimes the regular Big Brother doesn't have as high a production on things like that. But they had the fact that it's in the winter. They had most of the backyard closed off, so they had extra time to set up very, you know, intricate challenges for them to do. So some of them were a little better than normal. Anyway, I think it's all in all pretty good. But I'm ready to get back to some traditional Big Brother where they don't get to go home and watch it and vote based on that. What do you got, TV?
Walking Dead's back, everybody.
Oh, I love this because I don't watch it, and you can just tell me what happened. It's great. We were to the Whispers, right?
Mid-season premiere of season 9. Just back after the holiday hiatus. Yes, the Whisperers have arrived. We got some teases of them in the last half of the season. These are survivors, a new group of them. We have no idea who they are or how many of them there are, but they wear the skins of the zombies to blend into the herd. And they have renounced their names and just walk along. They think that's what evolution has taken us to. And I don't know if the show's really got into all this. But
do they say like alpha and beta?
Not yet, but we're headed there. I think next episode.
Okay.
By the time you hear this, that will have happened. So, yeah, at the end, the mid-season finale, somebody forgot to lock Negan's cell door.
What?
Whoops. So Negan just walks out. He just leaves. Has a heart-to-heart with Judith. She lets him go. And he goes back to Sanctuary. Sanctuary was where they were from, I think. Mm-hmm. And Ed has to stop and fight some feral dogs. Okay. He gets chased by feral dogs, finds a new leather jacket.
Does he have to go to the dump where the people live?
No,
trash people.
We are dumpless.
What happened to the trash people?
They are on their helicopter and gone to their own planet.
Well, they took their trash and went on.
So Negan finds out there's nothing out there in the world for him. He can't survive on his own, so he has to go back. We learn Rosita and Eugene were out when things happened. He got injured, barely made it back. Eugene opens up his heart and tells Rosita how he feels. She shuts it down immediately. Then immediately, like the best soap opera, goes right outside his window and tells someone that she's pregnant. And Eugene overhears it, crushing the poor guy. And so, yes, now Rosita is pregnant, and she says it was from before Gabriel. So we don't know who we got daddy drama issue. Ooh. We don't know who the daddy is. Man. Or I don't. Maybe someone does. I don't. And we captured Lydia, a young person from the Whisperers. If you've read the comics, you'll know more about who that is.
I did.
But they have her in a cell, and they're trying to get information about what this new group is. But the most interesting thing is, throughout this whole premiere, there just kept running commercials for other people's shows from The Walking Dead. There were commercials for the ABC show that Lauren Cohen moved to. Yes.
Wow.
So Whiskey Cavalier is Lauren Cohen's new show about a CIA spy with co-star Scott Foley of Felicity. And that's premiering pretty soon.
Does it take you back to school?
And so for I don't know why AMC would be showing a commercial for a different network, but hey, Lauren Cohen's got a show.
Yeah, I didn't know they did that.
And then they ran a commercial for CBS All Access and Sonequa Martin Green's Star Trek show.
Yeah.
What is happening?
And then, of course, Norman Reedus. Stay tuned for Ride with Norman Reedus. So the show has basically just become
a big commercial
advertising for all the people who've left the show. Right. So, I said ratings were up. I think there was some spooky stuff. Like, it was creepy. The zombies haven't been a real threat for a while. So if you don't know the zombie, we know it's trying to bite you, but it might actually try to stab you or push you down. It's a smart zombie. So if you don't know what's out there in the herd, has added a new wrinkle. And there was there's a new showrunner, and there was some interesting visual stuff. It looked more like a horror show that it hasn't been for a while. So I'm not going to go out on that limb and say Walking Dead's back, everyone, but it's on the right path.
So you didn't... I want to make sure you didn't, spoil that in your description.
Spoil what?
What the deal is with the Whispers, because I didn't know whether you said the detail in there.
That they wear the skins.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I just didn't want to do it if you hadn't, but that always reminded me, what's the one guy's name? This guy. This is what I always think of when I think of the Whispers. Is the Cosby Kid guy.
Donald?
Yeah. With the thing pulled down where it's in his eyes through Anyway.
And I'm not going to try to do an impression.
No. We're not going
there. Just for the outtake at the end. All right. So what else?
And I checked out Miracle Workers on TBS. This is the show where Steve Buscemi plays God.
Yeah, I saw the commercial for this.
And he teams up with a superhero. No, wait, that's a different thing. Daniel Radcliffe is the star. Steve Buscemi is God. And I've seen countless ads and commercials and all this stuff. And I thought, that might be worth a try. And not until I tuned in did I find out this is Simon Rich, the guy who did Man-Seeking Woman.
Yeah.
He created this show. It's based on one of his books.
And
just
it's
like
on what
Man-Seeking
network?
Woman. TBS.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So if you had told me Simon Rich has a new show out,
definitely
I am on board for sure. I just happened to watch it. So
that's pretty big star power for a TBS show.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi and Harry Potter.
Yes. But it's only 7 episodes. They're calling it a limited series.
Oh, okay.
So they're only, their commitment is pretty slight. But if you like the kind of absurd sort of humor that Man-Seeking Woman was, this is definitely it. The first episode was directed by Jorma Taccone from Lonely Island.
Oh, yeah. That's the band or whatever.
Yeah, they Andy Samberg and comedic music. I will explain comedy to you. No, but it's sort of... I saw some review called it basically the Office Afterlife. So it's basically God created the world, and it's this giant factory and office building, and now it's just gotten so overpopulated, and it's so just, everything's rusty, and it just shows them pushing carts with like the rainbow machine, and it just like it breaks, the wheel falls off and it breaks down, and they're like, if we don't get numbers up, they go past the animal department. It's like, if we don't get numbers up this quarter, we're gonna have to make one of these extinct. And it's just like they're trying to pick which animal to go and extinct next. So it's just basically like a giant corporation, a giant dying corporation as the universe.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna have to go back and find that and watch that series.
It was fun.
Cool. See, even I found something from this dang podcast.
Yeah, I haven't watched much television. I did watch that first episode, Star Trek Discovery, but we can talk about it now, or we can talk about streaming. It doesn't matter to me. The short of it was, I did not watch season 1, any of it.
I'm not on regular TV now. Is that what you're saying?
No, the first episode was free on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Trying to get people to subscribe and that type of thing, boost interest in it. So really, other than the big headline stuff at the end of the year, I was very uninformed. I didn't know any of the characters on it, except for Captain Pike, who has been, he was from the pilot of the original series way back in the day that they reshot and became part of another episode. And then when J.J. Abrams took over the reboot a few years back, Captain Christopher Pike was the original captain of the Enterprise and played a big role in the first movie. Of course, it's a different actor now, but I thought it was pretty good it was Star Trek. Like, perfectly fine. The effects were really good in it. It did not look like television effects, like a CW show or something like that, which I'm fine with, by the way.
Right.
But
it's no knock on it.
Yeah, for a first episode, I heard a rumor after I'd watched it that the series may already be canceled, but I think I'm not putting much stock in that. But yeah, it was very alien heavy. It reminded me a little bit more of Star Wars in that fact that a lot of the crew were alien. Species mostly I didn't recognize, but they were interesting. But it just felt, in that respect, a lot more Star Warsy, cantina scene stuff. I felt like some of the characters were there just like, oh, look at this cool alien, rather than they're a big cast member. So a lot more background characters were alien. The ones that weren't, the main crew, even though they had some funky things going on. This is the series takes place after the Scott Bakula Enterprise series.
Are we in the movie universe, or is this a separate?
I think it's the television universe mostly.
Is there?
It's hard. I don't know. I'm not a big Star Trek guy.
Right.
But this takes place after the Enterprise series, before the original series. We see in the first episode the Enterprise shows up, the original Enterprise with Captain Pike, and then he comes aboard. They're damaged or something, and he comes aboard the Discovery. That's the name of the show. And so he has a reason to be there and leads a mission. So that was pretty cool. But anyways, and I watched This Is Us, Songbird Road Part 2. We talked about that a little while ago.
I've been waiting for closure on this.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in Part 2. Not much happened.
The one that came out this past week?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, not much happened. So it was pretty anticlimactic. I was hoping... I'm kind of a sucker for that feel-good stuff. I was hoping, everything was going to end up in the up and up, but it really didn't.
He rescues the Star Wars figures.
Yeah,
there's a teary return.
Right.
Nothing really changed for the most part. So yeah, TV.
All right, we did it.
Yeah.
Let's, that's your Ka-Pow taste for the week.
Yeah.
Hey.
For this episode.
Yeah. So,
I've been putting out. We've been doing shorter episodes, so
you may get them more often and less long.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to mention, because it was this will be the first one comes out most recent this week that we're recording tonight, is Ron Miller passed away.
Oh my gosh!
And I know you guys probably have no idea who Ron Miller is.
Okay, no.
But at least for
and nobody's allowed to admit that.
Justin Lowe, I'll mention it. Ron Miller was.
Oh, was this that old guy you were posting all over the place?
One post. One.
I
Just
saw
one.
two.
No, Ron Miller was actually Walt Disney's son-in-law.
Oh man.
He Ron Miller was married to Diane Disney Miller, Walt's daughter, biological daughter. And they met at UCLA in college. He was a big football player, played for UCLA. And Walt went to one of the games. And during this game, he was a tight end. And one of the plays, Ron caught the ball down the field and turned and just got clobbered by a linebacker. And after the game was over, and he said he didn't really remember anything until about the third quarter. And so obviously had some sort of concussion, head injury back in the day. But Walt came up to him and he said, Ron, he said, seems to me that you're going to get killed out there. He said, instead of doing this, why don't you just come to work for me? So Ron went to work for the studio. He was a big producer in TV and movies. Actually, after Walt's death and Card Miller came along, Ron became CEO, and he was president of the company. And during the early 80s, until Michael Eisner came along and that whole takeover they did with Katzenberg and that whole group. But I was going to read real quick. Bob Iger put out a real nice statement the other day when Ron passed away. It just reads, everyone at the Walt Disney Company is deeply saddened by the passing of Ron Miller. His life and legacy are inextricably linked with our company and the Disney family. Because he was such a vital part of both as our CEO and Walt's son-in-law, few people had Ron's understanding of our history or deeper appreciation and respect for our company. He shared it generously with anyone who wanted to know more. I was fortunate enough to know him, and even luckier to have called him a friend. My thoughts and prayers are with his family. Bob Iger, CEO, Walt Disney Company. Ron doesn't get enough credit when he was in charge. He played an integral part in the start of Touchstone Pictures when they came about. That was the offshoot of the Disney Company. A lot of famous 80s movies came out of that were, PG-13. They couldn't be put out with the Disney brand, so they came out with Touchstone Pictures. And the Disney Channel itself, he played a huge role in getting the Disney Channel started and on the air. Still going today. So it was sad. Diane passed away a few years ago. They actually started the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco, which I'd highly recommend to anybody. Justin, your brother Justin Lowe's been there. I'm sure he'd recommend it, but I just thought, when somebody in the industry, that stuff we talk about, at least we should mention it. So pretty cool guy.
I was just sitting there thinking, if you could change your middle name like Michael did, it would definitely be Disney. You would change it to Disney. Cliff Disney Barnes.
I'd have to make it cool like Michael, like Kal-El.
Yeah,
It'd have to be
Diz-Nee.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I never heard of the guy, so it's nice to find something out about him and what he did for Disney. That's
after his Disney days, he went on. They owned a big winery out there in California, so that's what he did for many, many years.
I obviously don't understand why.
What if he had turned pro and led the Browns to 4 Super
Oh
Bowls?
my gosh!
Tattoo level.
Yeah.
Disney Miller. Disney Miller Barnes.
There you go.
Would you go back in time and stop Walt from going to that game to get the Browns championship?
He'd have went in and he'd have made sure he got hit by that.
Yeah, he gets punched by Biff.
Yeah.
All right, we did it.
Were you out there bird watching? All right, thanks everybody for listening. Check us out on Facebook. That's where we do a lot of fun stuff.
Oh my gosh!
Twitter,
yeah, we got to talk about all this new stuff we've petitioned to be on too. We're already on Twitter.
At the Ka-Pow Podcast.
Yeah. Facebook, Pow Podcast. Podbean, Google Play, iTunes. Leave a review, 5 stars. But this week I told you guys we have a new email address.
I don't remember what it is, but
it's Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast @gmail.com. So if you have questions, suggestions, feel free to email us if you can't get us on social media or whatever. However you want to do it.
Sign us up for the Clutch MOV mailing list.
Yes.
So we know 2 years from now.
Yeah. we're on top of that. And
we can use that email to vote.
And we
what if we lost by one?
Don't even. Man. I don't want to think. I don't even think about it.
We should have put our best guy on that.
Yeah, I moved on. But yeah, hopefully here soon we'll also be on Spotify. We've petitioned for that. iHeartRadio.
You're not going to be able to avoid us.
So a couple weeks, maybe we should hear back to see if we're now on iHeartRadio and the TuneIn app, TuneIn Radio. Another one we've also petitioned. So
I don't know what any of those things are, but I like them.
Me too. Made me feel better.
Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you very soon. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Goodbye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com.
Okay. And I want to mention, I want to mention the poll I put up today. I want to mention
voting. Clutch your movie.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
We're bringing it up.
Yeah.
I got a few things to get off my chest.
This is some bull.